Good. Good. All right. Okay. Well, welcome. Super Bowl is going to be later, so I'm going to try to wrap this up, be as fast as I can. Somebody drop $5? Somebody else's money. Should I take it?
No.
Just laying there on the ground. It's not mine. It doesn't belong to me, right? I just saw it sitting there. Anyone could have dropped it, right? It's not my money. What would you do? If you saw this $5 before me, would you take it? Why? Right. Is it wrong? Would it be wrong to take the $5? Right, but would it be wrong? And if it's wrong, why would it be wrong? Anybody else? Why would it be wrong to take the $5 if it's not yours? And the better question is, why and where does that feeling come from? How do we know from a moral standpoint? If we see something sitting there that isn't ours, car, truck, house, boat, money, how do we know not to just go up and take it? Who instilled that in us? Where did that come from? Right? Something to think about. So we talk a lot about a moral compass. Okay, we're going to talk about that as well this evening. So, all of you, when did you first learn the difference between right and wrong? Do you remember when it happened? For some of us, we can recollect the exact moment in time, perhaps in our early youth. For some of us, it was much later. But what is morality? Where did it come from? Why do we have it? Is it even real? Does it even exist? What direction does your moral compass point? I'll say that again. What direction does your moral compass point? A famous comedian, some of you probably are going to make me feel really old when I say this guy's name, the late George Carlin, no longer with us, once said, I got to tell you, the longer you live, the more you look around, the more you realize something is wrong here. War, disease, death, destruction, hunger, filth, poverty, torture, crime, corruption, and the ice capades. Something is definitely wrong here. And that's probably the only George Carlin joke that we can say here in this building. For those of you who don't understand that, don't go look it up. Just leave it alone. All right, so nevertheless, he was a comedian and he spoke truth into life. George was hinting at our moral compass. Everyone, all of us, all of you. Where has our morality gone as of late? Have we no shame anymore for our misdeeds, our words? I stumbled upon that George Carlin joke in a fantastic book by Tyrone Anderson entitled Why We Believe. Absolutely amazing book, fantastic if you're into the apologetics crowd. That's my book plug, that's all I'm going to do, I promise. Alright, so back to morality and the moral compass. I can remember once I tested my own moral compass when I was younger. I was probably about 10 or 12 at the time. I was living on my stepmom's farm out in the middle of nowhere, eastern Kentucky. She knew I was a young boy, and so she had bought me my very first bow and arrow set. Now I'm talking real arrows, super sharp, super deadly, right? So like any young kid, fresh with his new toy of death, I went down to our creek, and I was just walking around looking for something to shoot. You know, I was a young boy, what am I going to do? And I spotted a large bullfrog. He was just sitting there, big guy. My eyes lit up, and I thought, what any young boy would think at this age, oh, you are so dead, little froggy, froggy, froggy. And I stood there with the frog, and he was barely even, not even 4 feet away from me. And at the last second before letting the arrow fly, I retracted. And I thought, this isn't sporting. This is not even fair. He's big, he's slow right now, he can't even hop away. It's not like a deer, you know, that can run crazy fast. By the way, this isn't some anti or pro hunting message, okay? Believe me, it's got nothing to do with that. This is just an anecdotal story, that is all. So I had a change of heart concerning killing the frog. While thinking too much, the frog took an opportunity, ribbit, ribbit. He was like, so long, dummy. And he was out and he hopped away to safety. The frog was smarter than I was. So why, folks? Why did I have that moment of doubt? What caused it? Was my decision a natural reaction? or something instilled at birth. Why? Because we're animals, and we too feel what animals feel? That's what an atheist would have you believe. An atheist would have you believe that I saved the frog because deep down we feel for our fellow creatures. But why? Without God and the Bible, what is truly immoral or moral? Without God, who's to say? Your idea of what is immoral may be totally different than mine. Without something greater than ourselves making that determination, whose call is it anyway? Moral and immoral. Mark 7, verses 20 through 23. What comes out of a person is what defiles him. For from within, out of the heart of man, comes evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, coveting, wickedness, deceit, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, foolishness. All of these things come from within, and they defile a person. You see here in Mark 7, the evil and good ways are within us already. The key to unlocking these separate paths is free will. God gave us his infallible moral code that at the same moment gave us the ability to choose left or right or wrong at any given moment. So I ask you, can we be moral without God? If so, how? Who put it there? As we discussed in the previous series, in order for something to start in motion, something must have already given it a first push. So who initiated, created, designed morality? First and foremost. So why did I recoil? Why didn't I shoot that bullfrog dead on a toadstool? I was not spiritually mature at this time in my life. I knew of God and the Bible, sure. However, my mind and my maturity level were severely lacking at this age. What stopped my actions that day? Another direct quote: no society has ever survived or will ever survive without morality. And no morality has ever survived without a transcendent source. I think that was Richard Simmons. Make sure it's the right Richard Simmons, not the ones that skips around in the leotard to the oldies. Hopefully I didn't just date myself again. So again, folks, the deeper message here goes back to an earlier series lesson that we talked about. Who are we to create anything? Atheists would argue, I would have shot that bullfrog regardless of God. I'll rebuttal that and say this. I was just a dumb kid. I saved that frog's life not because I too am an animal with animal feelings. I recoiled because God instilled in me, in all of us, a sense of what is right and wrong. A moral compass, if you will. Ask yourselves, which way does your moral compass point? And how did I acquire this compass? Who installed it? And always remember, a compass's natural position is true north. When lost, one has but to follow the biggest star, the North Star, back home, always, to the house of the Lord. Thank you all so much.
All right, everybody, let's give it up for Andrew. Now, I know he might have tried to set you up there a little bit with that $5 bill, and I actually told him, I was like, somebody's probably going to come and knock you down and grab it, but I was shocked. I almost, we got camp coming up, guys, and I mean, you should have grabbed that $5. We need that stuff. No, in all seriousness, morality can be a tough one, because a lot of times we think about things like, taking money that's off the ground. But are we really thinking about God in those moments? See, a lot of times when we develop stuff in our culture, Andrew kind of was developing, kind of gives you some great pointers there. We'll develop things that are culturally wrong, like taking somebody's money. Well, that's kind of known throughout our culture. But then we don't really say, well, this is not what God wants of us. And I love how he closed out and pointing you all, directing you north. He's telling you the true north, and then the house of the Lord. Here you are. Here is Super Bowl Sunday. setting aside the time to worship with us, whether you're in person, YouTube audience, or you're watching online. And we're getting ready to go into another time of